Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway. The car is coming onto pit road and stopping. Once the final car is in its pit stall and stopped, they will throw the red flag, and that means that they are allowed to then begin working on those cars. That's when the 10-minute clock will start. You take a look at Brett Thompson in the 61. This is why we're under the caution.
Watch the 0-3 of Dylan Kwasniewski as he gets down in the corner here. Just got in a little bit too hard. Didn't leave Michael Self any room. He was on the inside of Ben Kennedy. And just carries the 21 of Michael Self and Brett Thompson. Brett with nowhere to go when those two other cars got together.
So they put the 61 of Brett Thompson on the rollback, and they'll pull him back into the garage. And it looks as though all of the cars have stopped on pit road. The 10-minute clock has started as the crews have begun working on their race cars.
Great time to have this halftime break because it's going to take a pretty good while to clean up the racetrack from that 3-car incident. These guys are allowed to do anything they would do on a normal pit stop. They're not allowed to open the hood. They're not allowed to open the trunk on these cars.
And the drivers are going to stay in their race cars strapped in. Let's go down to Bob Dillner.
Down here in a lot of activity on pit road, teams making the tire changes and adjustments to this race car for Alex Bowman. Now let's talk to the leader of this race now. A nice move to get by Greg Pursley there. How good is this race car now that it's out in clean air?
Well, clean air definitely made a huge difference. I just got to thank all the guys at Venturing Motorsports for working so hard on this thing. It's I'm not feeling so great right now. I think I got some carbon monoxide poisoning or something going on, but definitely got a good car for this last little run, and just got to thank Greg Paul Produce. Cool to have St. Jude's on again, and Leader Auto Auctions, and it's real cool to have all my family out here being so close to home.
You know, you look really good on the outside taking that lead, but restarts coming up. Would you choose the bottom or the outside, being how good you were on that outside?
Oh, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to have to go to Jonathan Davis and talk to him about that one. He hasn't steered me wrong yet, so hopefully he'll have a good answer for that. But I don't know. We'll see. I know Pursley kind of likes to be able to use up the racetrack. I think the outside might be the place to be, but he's real good on restarts too, so we'll see what happens.
Alex Bowman, just 18 years old, leading this race, looking real good. We're going to talk to another teenager just in front of him here on pit road, just 15 years old. Chase Elliott in the top 10 right now. You're marching forward. So what we want to know is how good is this race car, and how good can you get up there and battle with those leaders today?
It's pretty good. I think we got a little bit tight right there towards the end of that run. Really looking forward to this next segment, and I feel like we're going to make the right adjustments here. As long as we can do that, I think we'll, just put ourselves in position. Maybe we'll have a shot at this thing.
Chase Elliott, like I said, 15 years old. He's actually doing double duty this weekend. He'll fly to Jefferson, Georgia tomorrow to run the World Crown car. He had another guy qualify that car, Cale Gale, for him. We're going to go over here and try to talk to Ryan Blaney, who's another guy battling in the top 10 right now. And Ryan, I understand the car's been really, really tight. What adjustments are you making to make this car better in the second half of the race?
We started off tight and just got worse and worse and worse from there. So, Trent made some major adjustments here to the car to just try to free it up a little bit. So we'll see what we got here in the second half.
Ryan Blaney mentioned Trent. That's Trent Owens, who's a crew chief on the Nationwide Series for Turner Motorsports, guys.
Thanks, Bob. And that's pretty cool. Bob's been able to talk to some of the drivers right in the middle of the race. We were able to follow some of the social networking and on Twitter. Missouri Race Fan says, is it normal to take a halftime break in a K&N race? Well, before you answer that, Phil, I'll say it's not very normal, because I was talking about once this halftime break was over, they could, come in and maybe change tires or gas. Well, they don't need to. They won't need to add fuel, and they don't need to change tires once this halftime break is done. So it's not very normal, is it?
Well, it is at some of the shorter tracks. I think this is the first time we've ever had a halftime break on a big track, and that's not normal either. See Bob Dillner running down pit road. There you go, Bob. But anyway, on some of the bull rings, there really isn't an adequate pit road, so they do have halftime breaks. But again, we've never had one here. We've never had one back east at Loudon. So I think this NASCAR is looking at that next year, because it's definitely a cost-saving move here, because you don't have to have a high-priced pit crew. You don't have to travel extra people here to pit the car.
Bob Dillner trying to break the mile record here at Phoenix. back to the Casino Arizona 125. Cars are rolling back onto the racetrack. Before they got going and fired back up again, Bob Dillner worked about as hard as I've seen any pit reporter work as he ran from the back of the grid to the front, and he was able to talk with Greg Pursley. Bob?
Greg Pursley dominated the early part of this race. Just ran down to talk to you, Greg. Alex Bowman slipped by you. What are you going to be able to do to get by him again after this halfway break?
We're just a touch tight there at the end of the run, so we made a little adjustment, a little tire pressure, and go back after again.
Simply stated by the guy that is this year's NASCAR K&N Pro Series West champ.
And all the drivers that were involved in the most recent incident were checked and released from the infield care center. And I believe Bob's going to head to the infield care center now for some oxygen, maybe.
That's a long pit road, and Bob went from one end to the other.
That was a long run. So the field is going to get back in line. They will be back in the same positions they were in when the caution came out and they were able to come onto pit road. So they didn't lose a spot. It doesn't matter where you come off of pit road after this break. They'll give you your spots back. And so as they are doing that, they'll all fall in behind the pace car once again. Alex Bowman and Greg Pursley making up the front two spots. We heard Alex Bowman talking about, the choice of lanes, inside or outside, talking about how he thought Greg Pursley was going to be able to utilize the whole track, and he wasn't sure if he should start on the outside or inside.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit hesitant maybe to start on the outside because he didn't want to get down to turn one and Greg Pursley have to use a little more racetrack. But Alex was so strong on the outside, he was going to leave it up to his crew chief, he said.
They're going to put the cars back in line. We'll go side by side for the restart. We'll take a quick break before that happens. And welcome back to Avondale, Arizona, in the desert here at Phoenix International Raceway. There was a real cactus, and then there's the fake cactus. Completed 66 of the scheduled 125 laps. Now there's just 58 laps to go as they cross the start-finish line once again.
Getting ready for a restart here. Alex Bowman has chosen the inside, Rick. Going to leave Pursley to the outside.
Bob Dillner.
Dylan Kwasniewski involved in that big wreck. What happened from your perspective in that accident?
The 21 got into the 61 on the outside, and he was kind of all over the place. I guess it's racing, but I think his spotter should have cleared him. I was significantly on the inside, and he just came down, and fortunately we got together, and can't do anything about it.
Unfortunately, sour grapes here, but I tell you what, this kid is pretty good.
And young.
Yeah, he really wasn't quite up there to Michael Self. He barely had his nose up in there. I'm thinking he'll probably look at that maybe again and look at the video and say, man, I really wasn't there yet. But nonetheless, a bright future for Dylan Kwasniewski.
Door to door, side by side once again. Alex Bowman on the inside, Pursley on the outside. Bowman choosing the inside. How about we're seeing out of the 17 of David Mayhew already some steam blowing up.
Yeah, they've run a number of laps here while everyone got lined up. Well, hopefully when they get going here and get some air moving through the radiator, through the grill, that'll cool off.
Hopefully he doesn't lose too much water before that happens. Green flag back in the air.
Great start by Alex Bowman. Now Pursley's going to try to drive up on the outside. Not going to be able to do it. Look at all the speed orb down there. Look at Pursley sideways.
Pursley sideways as he went through the speed orb. He gets it checked back up. David Mayhew all the way down 2 lanes inside that dog leg, and he goes by the 76 now, Daniel Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez looked like he may have had a little bit of debris on his tires. Lost that spot back.
So in front, it's Alex Bowman. David Mayhew's moved up to the 2nd spot. Then it's Daniel Suarez, and Greg Pursley has dropped all the way back to 4th.
Great side-by-side battle now for 2nd. Suarez moves to the inside of Mayhew to try to take over that 2nd spot.
Pursley trying to catch his breath now as he still runs in that 4th spot, but has such a strong race car. Looking to get back up front.
Chase Elliott now on the inside of Eric Holmes as they follow the 9 of Derek Thorne.
Just behind him, that 98 of Chad Bowe. Take another look at Pursley. He got up just a little bit high out of that preferred groove.
He did a nice job saving that truck, as well as Suarez avoiding him. Used to calling these Camping World Truck Series races.
So Daniel Suarez avoiding the 26 of Pursley. Here's Chase Elliott on the inside of Eric Holmes. Those two side by side, racing for the 6th position.
Ryan Blaney, the 11 car, follows right behind them. Ryan's moved up a couple spots since the restart. Talked about Trent Owens taking a pretty big swing at it. Now moves to the inside of Chase Elliott as Greg Pursley now cuts the dog leg.
So Pursley takes the spot back from Mayhew.
See, that smoke is still there, that telltale smoke on the 26 car. Obviously not affecting the performance of that car.
70 laps, 70 of 125. Only 55 remaining. And Greg Pursley continues to march back up toward the front after losing multiple spots.
Oh, Jason Bowles is going to get that outside wall.
Hard into the outside wall. Bowles goes. Going into turn number 1 just a bit hard. And that will bring the caution out once again. 6 cautions tonight.
He was a little bit wide. He got in that speed zorb up there. Very little grip up there to start with, and then he got into the slick speed zorb.
So hard damage for the 31. Just 54 laps remaining in this race.
Tough break for Offenbach Racing. Both cars now, the 21 of Michael Self and the 31. Here he is on the outside of Luis Martinez. You see he's way out of the groove right now, then starts getting in that speed zorb, tries to catch it, just couldn't grab a hold of it.
Running in the 16th position, trying to get by that 6 of Martinez Jr.
There's the contact.
Into the wall he goes.
There's another view. See how wide he is right here. He's giving Luis plenty of room. Right now he can't get it back. He gets the right side tires, the right rear tire up in that speed zorb, and around it went.
So a difficult ending for the 31. A lot of damage on the right side of that race car, and we saw the problems that the 26 of Greg Pursley had on the restart. Bob, are they going to fix that situation?
No, a lot of emotion down here on top of the box when he slid high on that speedy dry. Jerry Pitts, the crew chief on top of the box, just shook his head. Couldn't believe what he was seeing. But during this caution period, Greg Pursley has come on the radio and told Jerry, this is all my fault. The car was just a little bit loose like we wanted it to be at the beginning of this run. And I just got loose, got up there in the speedy dry. But don't worry, we're exactly where we need to be. And Jerry Pitts says that 26 is coming back to the front.
Remember, they had just been on pit road, so adjustments were made to these race cars.
There he is right after the restart. Got a little bit wide. Again, same situation. Got his right sides up in the speed zorb and did it. Fortunately for Greg, he was able to maintain control. Just lost a couple positions on the racetrack.
Yeah, and a great heads-up move by Daniel Suarez in the 76, giving him some more room. He saw how Pursley was wiggling around up above him, so he moved down to the bottom of the racetrack.